It's getting loud in Mexico City. 2 games have already been wrapped up here on the B stream. We started things off with Na'Vi losing 7-4 against SSG on Cafe. We then moved into Liquid taking on TSM. They had a slow start, but they brought it back to win the game 7-4 with 30 frags for Palu and Nesk combined. Now, with them still in position, they go on for their next task. They face the Russian Empire. I have an empire of men behind me, though, 2 beautiful bits of royalty, Des and Tim. Lads, fantastic day so far. I can only imagine how excited you are for this next one, Tim.
Oh, it's been great fun. I mean, yeah, when you see Liquid come in and run through a game like that, particularly in the second half, Nesk and Palu, 30 kills between them, of course we want to see more of that, and that's exactly what we're going to get. They're going up against Empire. I'm not saying Empire are going to be scared of that, but they've got to be cautious coming into this one, surely.
Absolutely, man. I mean, let's get into it, right, Des? Obviously, Empire, they missed SI, but they want to prove that they can cause an absolute stir on the international stage. This has got to be them coming out swinging, right?
It's honestly phenomenal. And this is a team that I'm always nervous about, right? Like, you look back in stage 1, they finished 8th. They were really, really poor. They got to SI as a result of how things shaped up and managed to kind of squeeze their way in. And Joysticks drops like 13.5 kills on average per map over 9 maps, sorry. The dude was absolutely insane. I think if you give them enough time, this team can become a lot better than they have been, say, at SI or even going into stage 2. Sure, they finished top place in EUL stage 2, but being dead honest with you, it was incredibly tight. Anyone could have finished in first place on that final play day. So are they looking good? Yes. Are they good enough to beat Team Liquid? I think I'm kind of with Ace on this one. I think it's going to be a stretch too far, but fingers crossed.
I think the hard part is as well, it's are they good enough to beat Liquid after they've already played their debut game?
Yeah.
They've still got bums in seats. They're still looking like they're warmed up, right? And obviously for what that game was, they didn't really struggle, Tim. They came out towards the end. They had it on a lockdown, absolutely run away with it. You've got to have some nerves going up against a team like this.
Well, that's the difficulty for Empire now, isn't it? You know, we've just seen Liquid come out, they've got themselves warmed up, fully competitive, ready to go, and now you've got to face them. Empire would have been better off facing them in the first game, realistically. But let's not count Empire out. This is in absolutely no way locked in for Liquid. For me, this is one of the closest matchups of the day. It really could go either way. Let's not forget, we haven't even spoken yet about the LAN buff that comes in for Empire. Like, Des mentioned how many kills Joystick got at SI. This is a team that plays completely differently on LAN to how we see week in, week out with them online. So Liquid, they need to definitely have a good focus here. They need a good map. They need to make sure that they're coming in somewhere that they're going to be competitive with Empire. They've looked good. They're looking sharp mechanically. Did we expect them to beat TSM? Yes, we did expect them to beat TSM. This now, for me, is the bigger challenge.
I suppose the hard part is, though, as much as you're saying there's the LAN buff for the side of Empire, one man that's looking a lot like a raid boss is Palu. He is hugely impactful at the best of times online. Back in LAN now in a position where you can hear his roars as well as received his gifts of death when he's laying people out on the server. It's going to be hard for anyone that comes up against him. Monster performance in the first game, Des. Can he do it again? Will he give us the double-double?
I'm hoping so. I mean, we were saying in that game itself that you want to see consistency coming out of them. It's all good having, you know, a good game every 2 or 3 maps, but making it consistent is going to be the number one. And yes, Palu was absolutely huge in that previous map. It was almost like there was a half each where Palu had the first half, then Nesk was massive in the second. If they can come and do that again today and contest with names like Dan, like Joystick, like always the players on the side of Empire that have been playing really well, you're going to have yet another explosive game. We had an incredible one for Na'Vi SSG. We had a brilliant one a second ago, of course, from Liquid in their previous game against TSM. I'm expecting another one here, but I definitely think you can see a repeat performance out of Palu and Nesk.
Oh, absolutely. It was like a relay race, but with it being an egg and spoon race full of C4. It was explosive and definitely quite treacherous. If we switch on over, though, to, of course, their opponents in Empire, this is where we can start to rack our brains a little bit. Tim, you foreshadowed it. You were mentioning the LAN buff. What should we be looking out for here with the Russian squad?
Well, first and foremost, we've already mentioned Joystick. Absolutely crazy on the entry, crazy on the frags. averaged 13.5 kills over the 9 maps of the group stage, I think it was at SI21. Just 120 kills plus in that group. It was unreal. We've seen that continue through stage 2, but we've also seen Always and Dan step up. They are two to watch. Dan particularly, keep an eye on him in the mid-round. He's going to pop up where you least expect it, and he's going to hit a 2k, a 3k, a massive impact moment. That's what he's been delivering. But let's not just focus on frags, Shepherd, diffuser. Give it to him, the man will put it on the ground. Empire love to play the objective, get in there, get the diffuser down. Shepherd came away with the second most plants in EUL stage 2. He's gonna do the same here at the Mexican Major. I've absolutely no doubt about it.
Someone I do definitely want to put the focus on, of course, though, is the button mashing brute himself. Joystick, you've already said his name, Des, and there's absolutely stock to it. Are we going to see him just go completely off in this series? Could that be the shining beacon for Empire?
To be honest with you, he is the big question mark for me at this LAN. Not because, you know, as a question mark player, he's a bad player or anything. He's one of the best that we've got in Europe. The problem that he's had over the last couple of years has been consistency. For the longest time, he was, you know, the Ash Jaeger main. He would run around and cause absolute chaos. He's known for playing an awful lot of Jackal too. And that kind of slipped away for a bit last year. He went to play more supportive roles. He played an awful lot of Smoke, for example. And I think he kind of lost himself. He wasn't quite sure where his confidence lay, what he should be playing. At SI, that came back to life. Again, we saw him pick up 122 kills in 9 games. That is like unbelievable in terms of comparison. Normally you get barely 5 players breaching 100 kills in a season of 9 games. He got 122, so really did something special. I'm hoping that confidence has kind of persevered. It went a bit quiet during stage 2 of EUL, but coming into a major, as you've mentioned, on a LAN environment, that's where he should be able to shine. So if he has a good game today, I think Empire are going to be unstoppable. But again, you come up against Liquid. Is that really a team you really want to be wetting your teeth on in the first game? Not really, if I'm honest.
No, probably not. Well, there you have it then. The giants of Russia going up against the behemoths of Brazil, making them both look somewhat normal-sized. What is a different size, though, of course, is the maps. We need to find out where this is going to be going, so we should move on over to the veto and have a look what the spread is looking like for this one. Of course, if you are just joining the stream today, you'll realise that all of our games are best of one in the round-robin format. There is not much room for you to suffer losses. You have to be winning these best of ones. For Liquid, they've already got 1 win under their belt. Tim, is the map choice going to affect them potentially getting themselves a second?
Well, I mean, they've gone to Villa previously, a map that we don't always see them play too much of. We were a little bit unsure about exactly what we were going to get. I'd expect to see something maybe that favours them a little bit more this time. You know, we might see a Consulate, might see a Clubhouse, something like that. Empire are going to take away Cafe to begin with. The thing is, the last thing that you want is Liquid just coming in and going somewhere that they can just take gunfights with you. You've got to try and get them playing Siege, because you're not going to win that fight against Nesk and Palu.
No, it just won't happen. How's this shaping up for you, Des?
And looking at it so far, there's no coastline ban, which has me very upset. But being dead honest with you, I wouldn't be too surprised actually if we do go to something like a coastline. Empire historically have been really, really good there. We've seen it played a little bit by Liquid throughout. I mean, it's still there in the Final Four. I'd love to see a Chalet more than anything else. But to be honest with you, Chalet, Coastline, and Consulate, I'd take any of those 3 for these teams. I don't know about so much about Villa. Coastline taken away makes a bit more sense. Maybe a Consulate I'm feeling then, I think, in this one, to be honest, Jackie.
If it goes there, I know one man who's bald and beautiful that will be very happy, Tim.
Well, I mean, they might take the opportunity to go to Villa here. They've just played there. They could literally, it's like one big game at that point. You know, we talk about them being warmed up. It just keeps them running through. Same sites, same angles, you know, same rotations. It's really the choice for Liquid here. But yeah, I picked out Consulate at the beginning. It's not too much of a surprise. It's been a Liquid map for the longest time. But Empire like it. Empire, as you can see, 100% win rate. Empire will play on Consulate. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker, and we've got a really good map to see these two shape up.
This should be an outlier, right? I mean, even just for myself, whenever I see Liquid on Consulate, it was fun, specifically because of Nesk's play. He was outrageous on Consulate with some of the angles he was coming up with. Really innovative. He would take a scalpel to anything and open it up for a line of sight. If we get to see some of that today, I'm going to be excited, especially with how he was firing off on the first series. That could be tidy. On the other side, though, Des, in terms of Empire, what's the stock for them here going into a map like Consulate?
I was really quite excited to see if they would go to Villa in that final couple of choices, only on the basis of we saw them play it against, I think it was Virtus Pro in the regular season, and my God, were they electric. There are some rounds that you look at that they shouldn't be able to win, that they just walk away the winner through brute force. Consulate is one of those maps that I look at and think much the same. You're attacking into garage, you can go charging your way through into cafeteria and cause some chaos. It's great to play on the roam up towards the top floors, for example, if you're defending downstairs. There's lots that you can do with it. My only slight concern, I guess, is will this defend into a little bit of kind of Roma team deathmatch in a way, right? Because you've got Nesk and Palu who are like roaming. You've got Joystick who likes to get up in people's faces and challenge them. This could be quite an early aggressive map for both of these sides, and for Empire especially. They want to make sure Nesk and Palu are kept in check. So expect a little bit of Roma battle, I'd say, regardless of who starts on attack or who starts on defense.
Oh, yeah, because this was the heaven for the Brazilian sides that we'd seen in the past, right? Where they would go for those really aggressive aggro plays. Consulate led itself to it, and they were willing to take it with both hands. A very innovative defense is what they used to have. One man that I do want to talk about a little bit, though, Tim, is Sexy Cake. You know, not an outrageous performance back on Villa, but what we expected. The consistency was still there. Back on Consulate, though, I feel like in the past, we've seen Sexy cause some absolute shenanigans on this map.
I was going to say, you know, we talk about the roam here on Consulate, and Nesk certainly is one of the players who will get out there and make a mess of the map if he gets an opportunity. But Sexy Cake historically has done that as well. Now, I haven't really seen him too much on Consulate since he moved into the more supportive role, so I'll be fascinated to see if he chooses to do that. Now, his supportive role tends to come more on the attack. It's about getting the diffuser down. It's about playing those hard breaches. So it might give him still the freedom on defense for them to say, you know what, yeah, get off into the map, because he was absolutely dominating teams alongside Nesk on the roam. They were just an absolute nightmare. I mean, the real sort of key characteristic of a good Consulate roam for me is something that Citizen from G2 does really well, and that is mobility. It's about opening those hatches. It's being up and down, rotating up and down staircases. There's too much to close off within the map. Even if you bring the Nomad, even if you bring the Gridlock, you just can't shut it all down, and that's something that these two do really well. But it's only fair to mention Dan on the side of Empire. Des, you'll remember back in EUL, we saw Dan have some really, really successful sort of rotational roams where he was dropping from meeting into round dash, challenging through bathroom, moving back upstairs, and picking up 2 and 3 kills quite easily in that area. So it's going to be an interesting battle between them both on the defense, I think.
Moving on from that, then, one thing that I think we need to find out at this point is really whose side you are preferring going into this. Empire up against Liquid. Des, I'll start with you again. I'll start pushing the pencil that way. Who's taking it? Who's going to be walking away with the W?
I think, to be honest with you, after seeing the last game against TSM, you'd be very hard-pressed to go against Liquid right now. Empire haven't played a game, so you'd be kind of flipping a coin on what Empire shows up at this competition. Are they, you know, in the zone today? Are they ready to play? We haven't yet seen them play. So I think by default, I'd lean towards Liquid. But what I will say is let's not be too against Empire at this point. They will come out and surprise people. And are they the team to beat down Nesk and Paolo and keep them quiet? Maybe not, but I think this new form Empire is going to surprise quite a few people here.
They got to come out with an absolute earth-shaking play to kick this one off. Tim, for your money, who's taking it?
This is super tough to call in my mind. Genuinely, I'm in like a 51-49% sort of situation here. I think we have got two of the best teams at the tournament coming up against each other, and I think the Empire are really going to want this first win. However, I am going to give the 51% edge to Team Liquid. I think Consulate is a map they're comfortable on. They're synonymous with it. They've just had the warm-up, and I think Empire maybe are just meeting them at the wrong time. If this was the first match of the day for them both, I'd have maybe gone for Empire. That's how close I am on this one.
I see. I would give you some food for thought, though, Tim. I've heard that one of the players has unfortunately knocked over some water. Does that foreshadow Liquid being toppled over or Liquid overcoming?
Well, I mean, that is the question, isn't it? I mean, I just think do we know which player it is? Because I just think back to your line, Jackie. Is he going to get mopped up like a spilt drink? That's the question.
We need someone to come in and literally mop the spilt drink at this point. That's the only way to get the balance back, but we'll see. It looks like we are ready to get into this one. Nevertheless, Liquid for their second game of the day up against Empire. Will the Russians be taking it away? Who will be saying dust for Danya? That's the question. Lads, find out the answer.
Thank you, Jackie. Yet again, Tim, we've got to a major, and it feels like on our first day of the competition, people are spilling drinks at desks. How many times does this need to happen? How many drinks need to be lost to the abyss before we start learning our lesson and putting lids on cups? It's killing me.
I mean, we maybe need to start giving the players like a little table, you know, off to one side of each station where they can just put the drinks down or something. It's becoming a problem.
Mine doesn't have a lid on. I've got a glass of water here. That's about all I've got, and I assure you it is not going to get knocked over. Touch wood. Pray to God.
The famous last words, Des. I'm waiting for round one.
Last words. For me to drop a massive expletive on stream as it goes all over my desk and all over my lap. Yeah, absolutely. Consulate is ready. Let's get into it. Liquid versus Empire for our third game here on B Stream of the day. The Russians stepping into their first fixture. Liquid, in case you missed them in the last one, did have a pretty dominating show over TSM. This time, though, it's a different map, a different playing field entirely, and Empire, I'm sure, have got something spicy planned for us, Tim.
It's difficult to say that after the two games that we've had so far, Na'Vi SSG and the Liquid game against TSM last out, we've been absolutely ruined so far. And it's difficult to come in saying, I think this could be the game of the day. I think this could be the best one. But genuinely, I think this could be the best game of the day. This could be an absolute humdinger between Liquid and Empire here. I want to see the best two versions of these teams turn up because I genuinely think it could be the two of the best teams that we're going to see here at the Mexico Major. So I just want them to turn up and give it all. I don't want any mistakes. I don't want any silliness. Just get in there, hit your shots, and let's have an absolute war.
Fans coming out pretty quick as well. Nomad and Valkyrie, a pairing we're so used to seeing on Consulate as a pairing. Nomad because you can drop down 3 of those air jabs on different windows around the map, have your Nomad or a support player sit outside the map and just watch windows and stop any jump out madness coming through. Valkyrie, often enabling those jump outs. If you see a Nomad ban, you often have to pair the Valkyrie with it. Otherwise, they're going to be out every single window going as you're trying to find where those tiny little black eye cams are scattered to the trees. Thatcher, often used to open up things like Mute and Mozzie blockades, or in some cases by Empire. In fact, I touched on this before, and I'm really glad we've seen it come out of Liquid. When Na'Vi played against Empire on this map, Thatcher was not banned. Empire terrorized Na'Vi with the Thatcher. They just yeet a couple of those EMPs into Garage in the late round, disable every bit of utility in there, whether they were Evil Eyes, Melusi, Banshees, everything, running and plant, and there was nothing that Na'Vi could do about it. So I think actually it's quite smart presence of mind from Liquid to ban that away. And the Wamai, say what you want to say about it here. For some, it's just a very big comfort operator and very good for stacking up on yellow stairs, for example.
Exactly that. Like you say, it might just open up some areas of the map like that. Now, we've got always bringing along the Jaeger, so the projectiles will still be dealt with more than likely. We've got Scyther on the Wamai, just going to put the little Banshee inside of the garage there. It is worth reminding everybody that we do have the new Banshees. They were nerfed, so when players move into them now, it exposes a core, essentially, that can be shot out. They don't have to get all the way up to it and melee it anymore, so that does make them slightly less oppressive, slightly easier to deal with, but they still certainly have their place. Now, Joystick, top floor, Nitro, talk to me, Des.
Doesn't it make you ever so slightly nervous when you just see Joystick being off on the roam somewhere?
Out that console window it goes.
It may well do. We've seen it before, and in fact, we saw it in the replays at the very start of this game. The announcement for Empire, brilliant C4 came out onto Secret. I think it was Keenan who was stood on the south side outside the balcony, outside the garage door, sorry. And we caught him with a C4 from the top floor.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Fair enough. It was Secret. Got domed, either way you want to look at it. What I like is, though, the fact they've got 2 or 3 players playing on this top floor. Bearing in mind they're defending the basement, there are 3 of them on the top floor here and saying to Liquid, come and find us. Come and chase us down because you've got to deal with Mute. You've got to deal with Mozzie. Once you've cleared the second floor, you've got to worry about the first floor. There is going to be so much for Liquid to think about.
Well, that's it. They're going to be going in with a serious lack of information you would expect with, as you say, Mute and Mozzie both on board. You would expect them to not quite have the same freedom with drones that they might like. Now, the information gathering will continue. There was a small challenge out onto Dan. He's going to burn his Nitro out onto the balcony there. There's nobody that is going to be getting caught out with that. The upside down rappel was way out of range of any potential explosive. And this is what I was talking about with Dan, this just rotational roaming style, just happy to drop hatches to move away. Joystick's going to do that. Top floor's given up at this point pretty much as Empire drop away, but they're going to continue the fight on the mid floor for the time being. They're not, it's looking like, going to let Liquid have any presence in this map without fighting tooth and nail, without getting up in the faces. Nothing is going to be given easily to them.
think Joystick's crawling his way back up the other stairs here as well. He's going back for seconds, mate, or afters, as you'd call them.
That's dessert, not seconds.
All right, whatever, mate. He's going back for extras. Whether it's extra food of a dessert nature or the main course, God knows. But at this point, wants to take a chunk out of them. Decided actually doesn't really like what's on offer. Backs away back down into the basement. So Empire are now, I think, pretty much all back on site. Now the question is how fast the Liquid read into that, because as it stands, they're still currently on the top floor, looking to ensure that there isn't anyone being too cheeky. A 2-floor angle down onto the Kite Electro Core removes it off the wall, and now they can start looking at getting things opened up. What I don't mind about this for Liquid was against TSM, they had a couple of rounds where 2 minutes were not wasted, but spent. Clearing roamers, all that kind of good stuff, and they still managed to win a round. So I think as long as they move fast in this final 40 seconds, there shouldn't be a massive issue.
Zexicate gets that breach open, has the diffuser in hand, and is poised, ready to go in and get the diffuser down. There is vertical supremacy here from Team Liquid, opening up those angles as Nesk and Moringa, they just go to work on that floor and force Empire deeper and deeper back. That's another Nitro expended, and another one that does not find its mark or a kill. Zexicate looking to plant just on the threshold here. This is an interesting one. He's inside the smoke, and that's essential cover coming in from Palu. Essential triple. PSK finds one onto Joystick, and like dominoes, Empire just drop one by one after another, and Team Liquid with a successful plant and a successful round open things up 1-0.
Well, that happened. It was like I said it at the 40-second mark. For Liquid, I don't mind that they take 2 minutes getting themselves set up for an execute, because the executes look so damn good. They've just pulled off a 3K from Palu on yellow, one man stepping inside under the cover of smoke, because they knew that all the C4s had been committed by Empire to trying to fight vertically. As soon as you hear that second or third C4 come out, you can go, okay, they've got this many on side, they've spent that many. Oh, they can't stop us anymore. There's nothing on there that can really damage them. There's no smoke on side, for example. So really well played by Liquid to draw that out. For Empire, maybe want to be ever so slightly more conservative with that destructive utility. Save it for when the plant is going down. And in that case, maybe the round goes your way.
Round 2 then, we're going to be up to the top floor this time around. Empire, I think quite wisely deciding that they don't want another part of that garage defence for the time being, because Team Liquid, quite frankly, have just shown an absolute mastery in attacking that in the late round. So we're going to go up to the top floor. We've got Dan on the Aruni just opening up the line of sight there. If you're wondering why he's doing that, it's just to allow an option. If you're playing holding on to yellow stairs, which is a really popular area to try and hold on to for this site, if you do that, you can cover, thank you, easy, the plant spot that you can see at the bottom of your screen behind the desk there from the stairs. So that's why that gets opened up. However, there's a really popular C4 that can be played as well. The hatch has been opened up underneath. If you've got a player down in piano, you can launch the C4 through the hatch, through the wall that's been opened up, and out onto the stairs. It's one that I believe we saw first in LATAM, so I'm sure Liquid are going to be more than prepared for that, but that is another reason why that area has been opened up.
I've seen some cheeky ones. We saw it in EUL this stage as well not too long ago, so one that arguably both sides should be aware of, assuming, of course, Empire have done their homework. It's Dan looking to play inside a meeting, normally where you'd see a mute playing or a smoke, for example, playing with those smoke canisters here. No, it's going to be the Aruni looking to do that instead. Again, I don't worry too much about how long Liquid take to get things done here, because the executes are always solid, but we'll see what damage Empire can do in the early round. Can they find anyone and catch them off guard before Liquid get too comfortable for the execute?
It was Palu who managed to get the first kill last time around. Liquid will be looking to get a solid start once again. A little bit sooner might be nice this time. It was right up at the point that the execute was about to start going down. But look at this. We've got Scyther and Joystick both underneath. And right now, Team Liquid aren't really doing anything to try and move them necessarily. They've opened up that piano window, but then Neska's dipped away. He's got PSK in tow with him. I'm not sure if Nesk is going to maybe have a look at moving in through the main door. He's just trying to find an angle onto somebody at the minute, but they're going to have to deal with these two operators underneath. There's no way they can go in for a plant attempt whilst there's two nitros underneath.
This is the big question as well. Is like, why would Scyther ever peek on front door here? Does he have to do a bit more than that? He'll have to move quite aggressively. C4 comes out as PSK almost gets taken down. Not quite enough to find the completed kill. But you can see 2 or 3 of them currently lurking around that console window looking to make an impact. Nest, the one now playing onto the south side to threaten inside a connector. Just trying to make Empire move, make them squirm here, make them a little bit more uncomfortable before they look to go for their execute. There's PSK finding the opening, sorry. Is that to Joystick inside of console as well?
Certainly
is. Run out. Oh, but Nesk, there he is.
3 versus 3 as we see kills raining in either direction. Moringa finds always out on the yellow stairs, and that's going to give Liquid a good advantage here. It's all down to Shepard and Dan, but Shepard, we know, is a clutch master in these situations. He's unflappable. He will make solid decisions, and he will make life difficult for Team Liquid. 40 seconds left to go, though. They're going to have to absorb a lot of pressure here. We can see Liquid are getting themselves on the drones and just looking to get in and get information for the time being. Palu's got the yellow stairs locked down. From there, he can hold on to connector and meeting. He can prevent a push potentially towards a diffuser plant going down in console. So step 1 has been achieved here. 20 seconds left to go. Liquid need to get moving in towards getting this diffuser down. Palu, I think, just pinging out that there's a man there. He takes a chunk of health off Shepard, who drops the hatch. He's going to have to rotate underneath Des. He might not be able to get in time to impact this. Palu will be shut down by Dan, though, in a big moment. Moringa has to come off the diffuser, gets the kill and goes back onto it, but he's got the man underneath. There are no seconds left. He has to stick this. There's nothing Shepard can do. Moringa's moved away from the angle, and he is successful. And suddenly, the round swings in the favour of Team Liquid when it looked like Shepard was going to be able to lock it down. It's 2 versus 1. He knows there's a Claymore. Looks to dip out. Cannot find the kill. Moringa shuts him down. And what an attack. And what a heads-up play from Moringa there.
That was a really nicely executed closing part to the round as well, because for a couple of seconds it looked like they might be able to pull it back. The swing in from console door, the play from below, just the intuition coming out as well to prevent themselves being targeted from below. Really smart stuff coming out for Liquid. 2 opening rounds, the first one being flawless, that second one looking very clean at the execute, even though they'd lost a few members. Solid start for the LATAM side.
Very solid indeed. 2-0 coming out to start things off, and 2 rounds, 2 plants. They are being able to get in there and play the objective. This time, just that repositioning was beautiful. He knew that he was exposed to the smoke underneath and just backed far enough away to prevent the angle being found, but he was on the clock. He had a fraction of a second to do it. So fantastic play from Team Liquid. Now then, Team Empire, they're going to go back up to console once again here in round 3. Nothing majorly different in terms of the lineup. Last time we had Scyther and Joystick playing underneath. They were basically ineffectual down there. They're going to have to do something more this time.
I think what makes me nervous for Empire, the reason maybe why they're retrying this site, you know, one of the lowest attacker win or defender win rates in EUL at the moment, it's because they know how badly they got rolled on the downstairs. They know that Liquid can deal with that roam play, so they think, okay, we've got to make top floor work. Where else do they go? They can play press and lobby, but you get threatened and pushed out the same way that they would do if they were defending on the downstairs. Your final site then really to play is going to be the split site, which is quite hard to pull off a good defensive execute of, to be honest with you. So I think they're a little bit, not so much lost for ideas here, but nervous about what it is they can do that's going to work effectively against Liquid.
Coming into the early stages of the action phase then, we've got that window prepped potentially just next to Scyther on the antechamber there. The barricade has been 2 hit underneath, and I'm not sure if that's to try and get, you can sometimes, depending on the window, you can get an angle underneath the barricade if you take out the bottom slat of it, and it can be used for a little bit of a peek, but there is also the potential for being used and primed as a jump out potentially, especially if the challenge is going to come into piano window like it did last time around. So we'll see how Scyther progresses with that, whether he keeps himself playing inside of antechamber and can take advantage. At the minute, he's just a little bit away from that, so that's not going to be a risk for them right now. Joystick is playing underneath inside of piano. So once again, Liquid, they're going to have to deal with those roamers. They did it very well last time around.
I can't imagine they'll feel too bad about this. No, here it's about trying to get control of yellow, which without the Wamayan side is a lot harder than it would normally be. You only really have those 3 charges of ADS if you really want to commit them all in there to make this happen. Long gone are the days of yeeting like, what, 9 different bits of utility into yellow to try and catch the player playing at the top of them. A mix of flashes and frags was normally the go-to, but in this case, always very quickly chased away, and that's why you've got these shields being set up in front of long desk here, facing out towards the west, just to stop it being too easy for Nest to come walking in. They have got this yellow control here with half the round currently elapsed too. Not a bad start for Liquid, and with no one going down the side of Empire, I think both sides will be looking at this one and saying, okay, we're relatively happy with how it started, but it's about how it progresses that really matters.
Certainly is, and they need to be careful, Empire, inside a site here with Liquid, and especially Nesk established at the top of yellow there. It does allow them to cut off a few rotations. I'm just very keenly watching Joystick still. Underneath, Scyther as well. There's nothing really been done about those two. 59 seconds left to go, and this is going to make a plant very, very difficult. Now, Nesk, he takes a lot of damage there, just being really chipped away at the top of yellow stairs, and it feels like Liquid, they've just stalled out a little bit, and Empire might just have the answers here in round 5. Joystick is looking to get an angle through the hatch. He's going to dip away for the time being, play himself inside of the round desk and underneath meeting, but with 30 seconds left to go, Liquid have got to do something here.
I mean, and like I say, I'm never really too nervous about their executes, but here, losing one, that's the kind of thing that can sting here. It's Palu as well, the man that was so big for you in round 1. Moringa looking to try and make a push forward, but he gets shut down by Sexy Cake. They found a couple, the C4 not connecting onto anyone. Oh, narrowly missing the Jaeger. Does he win this one? No! Always a crouch, not always, sorry, going to find himself a kill. It was always down into a triple, make it a 4K to close the round out. Big round from Dan, and it all started with that jump out onto the meeting balcony.
Much better from Empire there. They just managed to keep themselves alive into the late round, first and foremost, by comparison to the previous console round, where that underneath the sort of anti-chamber piano hold was cleared out reasonably easily by Liquid, and they were able to go in and think about getting the diffuser down, whereas there it was never a realistic option. They had to go deep into sight, which forced them to go in and try and get those kills, and as you say, Dan and Always, they were quite happy to just stand with backs to the wall and take the kills as they came to them. So that might just be the spark that Empire need now to get them into it. They need to find some momentum off the back of that, but it's back down to Garage, and that is not a position that they defended particularly well back in round 1. Liquid, with 40 seconds, were able to breach the wall, move in, plant, basically do a bit of everything, and there was nothing Empire could do to stop them.
Changed away a couple of operators here as well. The Echo and the Maestro coming in place of the Kaid and the Jaeger that we saw Shepard and Always respectively rocking back in round number 1. It was that flawless round because arguably, again, those C4s were just committed a bit too aggressively towards trying to challenge in towards Anti and inside of Piano. They've only got 2 on side with the Mute and the Mozzie. They're the ones playing on the roam, so you are chancing your denial. But that's why I think you're looking towards both the Evil Eyes coming along that can help you, of course, with laser beaming the guys, planting to death, as well as the Yokais to also provide some denial. So this could work out really well for the side of Empire, as long as they aren't conceding C4s or losing the Maestro too early in the round.
It's adaptation, it's changes, it's what we need to see from Empire, because as you say, you know, rinse and repeat the same thing against a team like Liquid, you're going to get the same outcome. Scyther, he's on that bathroom window, there's a man just underneath now. It looks like attention is being paid, so don't go for the peek. He's in the drone, so you know you're there, Scyther. It's time to be relocating and moving away. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself on the short end of Paolo's rifle, I would imagine, as he starts to think about potentially repelling. I think he's just very aware that he might be being baited in here for a challenge from elsewhere, but he's just going to try and hold that line, see if he can pick up a cheat kill onto Scyther, but he won't be able to. Scyther's moved away. He's too smart for that. He's going to get himself off into the map. Dan, Joystick, also out on the roam with him, as you say, a big presence away from sight, and does make you wonder whether there's a weakness there that Liquid could exploit.
They really like this 3-man roam, to be fair, Empire. Normally they'll have 3 playing up on the top floor, 1 playing towards yellow, and then 2 playing off towards the east side, out towards admin meeting side. Joystick being one of those 2 players that you're seeing right now. I imagine with the fact that you've got an Echo and the Maestro on side, this might be a little bit more passive. Time will tell, of course, but one thing Liquid has shown they are pretty good at is not getting picked off early on by these roamers. They're making sure they've got each other's backs covered. There are good flank drones in place. There's good intel collection in general. A lot of that being helped along by an operator that we haven't really mentioned yet. We have seen the entire half, PSK, playing on the 0.
And a lot of information, as you say. We've got a number of cams that are active there, just feeding information back into the side of Team Liquid. 1 minute 20 though, and still not a kill on the board. Still trying to gather information. Palu, he's barely moved his feet for the majority of this round. Been playing underneath that bathroom window. We saw him last time. His position will be on yellow stairs. The difficulty is, if they haven't got those Empire defenders pushed back to sight, he could be challenged from either side, so it makes it more difficult for him to cover the sight side, therefore before allowing Sexy Cake to get the diffuser down. So these are all the moving parts of the puzzle that need to come together to allow Liquid to get inside a site and deal with this. Now, Nesk, he's pretty confident inside a piano. He's opening things up. He's going to allow for that wall to be breached even further. But I'd be interested to see what impact Empire can have from the roam here if they are still active out in the map. Although I'm seeing a lot of silhouettes underneath us now, and I think this 4 out of 5 back on site. I'm not sure if I count a 5th.
What makes me nervous is there are still 3 frag grenades available for Liquid. They've held onto these for a lot of the round, but I thought they might commit them a bit earlier on to try and play through these verticals. Scyther with a drop from the top floor. I was going to say, surely he can find the kill, but no. The Ringer finds him inside the smoke. In comes the Echo drone from behind as well. Going to instruct Sexy Cake, who doesn't know where one is. Wants to challenge onto Dan here. Finds the kill, but can he do anything else about this now? He's got Evil Eyes focusing him down. There's a Yokai on the ground. He kills it out. Might now be able to make this work. Moringa, the only one that can provide any kind of help, though. Here he is. Shepard's coming to go in the well. One lay down on the ground. If he could get this stopped, he could do it all, but Moringa's just too damn good. 3k in the round, and Liquid find yet another one, even with Empire's adaptations coming through.
What are we witnessing? Sexy Cake just going on a little tear through sight, chasing down the Yokai drone, and essential that he hit those shots, Des, because otherwise that could have been the round 1, and Moringa come in with a big 2k to save him whilst the diffuser was going down, but it was certainly down to the wire for Team Liquid there, but good decisions were made, and they enabled themselves to have the opportunity to close out the round, and they go now 3-1 on the attack of Consulate, and this time Empire are going to switch things up by heading to press and lobby.
Okay. They are stepping away from one of those sacred 2 sites. I think realizing here that Garage is just not their forte. Things are not working out for them. Here, Liquid have got them all figured out. They can't do damage on their own like they're used to doing against EU teams. So the whole game plan essentially just falls apart, it seems to feel like. Let's see how press and lobby shapes up, though, and then, of course, the next round maybe would even find ourselves heading into, say, the split site. If this round goes well, of course, they have to win this one for it to be locked off, and then they've got the hard choice of the split site or going downstairs or potentially going back onto the top floor. In fact, I imagine top floor will be the answer, given that is the only other site they've been successful on. Time will tell. We'll see how this round plays out.
It's going to be an important one here because it could guarantee Liquid the advantage at the half. As you said, there's been mixed success of holding on to the top floor for Team Empire so far. They've won a round up here and lost a round up here. There's going to be largely the same hold here. They're going to try and keep hold of meeting particularly for as long as possible because it prevents the plant coming in at the double door. And given what we've seen from Liquid so far down in Garage, a double door plant wouldn't surprise me too much. Much the same as just getting inside of the breach and getting the diffuser down. Something that they have tried to do and may look to do the same here. So if they want to do that, it's going to be essential that they clear out meeting first.
Time will tell if they managed to clear it out at all. Saw Dan having an absolute field day from there prior. But here at least, admin for Nesk. And this is one thing I've got to give as a bit of a nod to some LATAM teams, right? You think about Oregon and about basement attacks. They like to go for this kind of multi-sided attack. In this round here, it's not really the case. So it kind of feels a bit moot to mention it now. But I did notice prior, they had a couple of members looking to threaten towards yellow and others also going into admin at the same time. We're very used in EU to seeing teams just say, we're an admin team, which is exactly what Empire do. Or other teams might like to prioritize going inside of yellow. It does kind of give you that choice. Whereas some LATAM teams, it feels like to mix that up and kind of give pressure on multiple sides of the map. It's always really interesting to watch.
I think it's a good way of doing things because what you'll generally see with the top floor hold here is teams as the defender will just sort of sit deeper and deeper back from meeting towards yellow stairs. They'll be pushed back, and it just takes too long to clear the entire top floor and then hold yellow stairs to enable you to get in and get a plant as well. So pushing from both sides does start to deal with that time issue, but it's not something that we're seeing coming out of Liquid just yet. Utility is burnt inside of there. Out comes the nade, and away goes the utility. Dan's position just became perilous. He needs to hold on to this for as long as he can, but he needs to be careful in doing so because the challenge could come in from multiple angles now. It could come from the door, from the balcony, from Copy, where he's being pushed from at the minute. So he needs to be very careful that he doesn't overstay his welcome here in meeting.
It's a little bit of a dance inside there just to constantly dodge around the plenty of angles that can constantly challenge you. I love this, by the way. Oh, surely he just saw the pixel.
So
I think he did see it, but just didn't quite manage to click in time. They might not know that he's dropped away in this spot right here. He could do massive damage if they're not too careful, depending on where it is they come bolting in from. They choose the right window, no damage will be done. Nesk finding one. Now they're aware and he can drop that through the last hatch. He's on the downstairs into the warm embrace of his teammates and will stay alive for now. But good pressure coming out of Liquid as we get into the final 30 seconds.
It's time to start thinking about getting the diffuser down. Palu's trying to do everything he can. He's jiggling this way and that to get an angle onto the man inside a bathroom. But out comes the Toxic Babe canister from side. They're in that position, playing behind that deployable shield. He's going to be able to burn potentially the rest of this round. There's going to have to be a push come in. PSK and Moringa do exactly that. The smoke's gone. That gives the opportunity. Shepard goes down. Sexy Cake is in and planting. This is all but over. Palu finds the final kill onto Dan. And that's Liquid 4-1 here on Consulate. And it's proving to be a great map choice for them so far.
Isn't it just? I honestly thought there for a second that Shepard would be ignored on the downstairs. Was looking to play with the C4 through that lobby hatch. Tossed it up there as someone's going for a plant on front door. Boom. Round is over. But in the same way that we saw, for example, in I think it was round, I want to say it was 2. They got into a spot where they smoked off the connector on the top floor. And that's normally when you'd assume that there would be a plant coming in. And Shepard, quite rightly so, ran into Piano. C4 in hand, was ready to deny. What actually happened was Moringa stayed on the window and challenged him as soon as he appeared below through some vertical holes that opened up. So they're very good at looking like they're going to go for an execute or do something crazy and then not doing it. Instead, kind of dialing their way back and using it to bait Empire a little bit. And here, I think it was much the same. Starting to get some pressure coming into lobby. The attention for Empire turns then somewhat towards denying that. And then they have players come and push through server side, work their way down spiral. They're just playing games with Empire at this point, and Empire just can't seem to keep up. It's really quite fascinating to watch.
It is. Empire taking the tactical timeout there, just wanting to slow things down. And you can't blame them, Des, because the game's starting to get away from them. It's 4-1 now to Liquid. There's another round left in this half. Liquid could well come away with a 5-1. And then would you put anything against Liquid winning this if they are 5-1 and only need 2 rounds on the defense? Basically, they need to find one site on this map that they can hold down. Right now, they're hitting shots. They're looking electric inside of the server. And Liquid, they're going to be a difficult team to close out here on Consulate.
It will be, yeah. I mean, think about it as well. You got to think about what happens when we get into the second half and how that's going to change things, because Liquid might well just say, hey, we see you guys are trying to play this roam game and not doing very well with it. Let us show you how we do it in LATAM, and that is when you're going to see some real damage being dealt. Let's see what Empire choose to do. It's not, I spoke about the different sites they could step to here, and we thought for a second maybe we see the downstairs, the top floor hold coming back out again, but no, they're going downstairs once more, and well read into by Liquid, changing out the Hibana for the Thermite at the last second. They've kind of, dare I say, guessed right with that one.
Certainly seems that way. We'll see as the round goes whether it manages to get them the win or not. It's just been so far such a good attack coming in from Liquid onto this site that it is not going to be easy for Empire to hold it down. Everything they tried to adapt and change last time around, although it got them closer, it still didn't get them over the line. Cyther needs to be careful. He was playing on and around that window previously, and Palu was very aware of it. So it's something that I'm sure is going to be in sharp focus for Team Liquid here. And they don't need much invitation to take an early kill if given the opportunity. So Cyther just needs to play that one with a little bit of caution. Goes to look for the peak. Is he going to get away with it? He's just waiting for the man to appear. He goes for the jump out, actually. Back in. That was already prepped. Empire looking to get aggressive here.
Finds one. Could be pretty transformational for them. But equally, Palu's a bit wise to it at this point. Probably aware that he might find himself stepping up to another window not too far away. And there he is. Scyther, the one now hanging outside of here. Got to be so careful here as well, because one small peek, one small catch. Removes 2 frags, removes one of your boys who's been playing super well all day so far. No, he's away just fine for now. So Empire again looking to cause trouble in the early round, and Liquid are just saying, no, we're having none of it. We are ready for it.
I love what we're seeing out of Liquid as well. We saw Nesk and Palu dominating in game 1 against TSM, and now we're seeing Moringa and PSK stepping up and really doing their part here on Consulate, and that is again something that's so important for what could potentially be a championship roster. You've got to, if you want to win titles, you've got to be able to have that depth. You've got to have your games where if somebody's quiet, somebody else steps up, and Liquid inside of the first 2 maps are starting to show us the capability for that. Now Nesk, he's moving in through admin. He's got himself established, boots on the ground, can start sweeping across this top floor. We can see Empire, they're starting to drop back towards site. Liquid so far have dealt with this very well, but Dan knows that Moringa's there, and that is one that Liquid should be familiar with. It's a Pino special from NIP. He loves to hit players on the prone like that, and Dan has shown that EU are more than capable too.
I mean, only down at this point. I do want to cast your eyes over for a second. The kills on the side of Empire right now. 1-1-1-8-1. Only Dan has really been participating. You know, I was thinking about this C4 about 10 seconds ago. I was like, how crazy would it be if he got to a window, yeeted a C4 over that half wall that player's been laid down behind the entirety of the half and gets a kill? He's just gone and done it. Magical from Dan. A really big kill for them. And now Nesk is playing a little bit of kiss chase here with him. No, it's joystick going down. Nesk finds him nice and simple. Still a 4 versus 3 for Empire.
Nesk lays a smacker on him there as he catches him back in the bathroom rotate, and that leaves us now 4 versus 3. Liquid fighting back, but lots of work to be done. Only 40 seconds left on the clock here. We've got Diffuser down cold on the ground, needs to be collected. We've got kills that need to be found, and we've got an Empire side who they are ready to just turtle down, hunker down inside a site and see the clock tick out on this one. There's 1 man left inside a bathroom. It's Dan. He's not really moved all too far from the kills that he's gained so far, and he's going to keep himself in that position with 15 seconds left to go. There's a lot of work to be done for Team Liquid here, but how about that? Nesk giving side of the spray down. 3 versus 3 now. Palu does have the diffuser, but I'm not sure if he's in a position to get to site quickly enough. PSK taken down. Dan has never been dealt with. Nesk is who manages to find the kill, but time ticks away, Des, and that's going to be Empire winning the round based on the clock, based on that sand just slipping through the hourglass, and they just couldn't find the kills, Team Liquid, in time.
Absolutely that right. I think if you'd given them another 10 seconds or so, that could have been a Liquid round, to be honest. But Dan, being the troublemaker that he is, really slowed them down, became disruptive, was the thorn in their side. Through 2 kills that I would wager aren't exactly obvious kills, right? The lying down one on the anti-window and getting the spray down onto the man and rappel outside is a little bit cheeky. Then the C4 over the half wall, you would wager the members of Liquid weren't exactly being aggressive or putting themselves in a spot to get so easily picked off by Dan, yet he still managed to make it happen. And that's the first time all half we've seen Empire really be comfortable in doing that. I'll touch again on how the kills are shaped out for them. Look, one kill for every single member on Empire except for Dan, who's currently sat on 10. He dragged them through those 2 rounds in that first half. They are lucky to have 2 rounds all at the moment, to be honest.
And this is why we picked up on Dan coming into this game. You know, we said that he has really brought himself to the forefront, and he's been that player who can find the kills when joystick isn't. And that certainly is the case here. But as you say, they can't rely on it to this degree. It's all well and good replacing kills from one player, but you can't be replacing kills from forwarders.
10 seconds left.
Absolutely not. Well, we're into the second half. Empire the ones switching onto the attack. With Liquid being at 4 rounds on their first half, I can't imagine they'll be too upset about how that has gone for them at all. Whereas for Empire, big questions to be asked, because now pace and timing, the onus comes onto them the same way it was on Liquid in the first half. And if there is anything we have criticized the 2 Russian teams in EUL4, Virtus.pro and Empire, and don't ask me why, I have no idea why, it's just the Russian teams that really struggle with this. Time has not been their friend, and apparently neither has Palu as he gets the entry kill onto joystick.
Great start for Team Liquid once again, although Empire opening up the wall very, very quickly. That's the breach done inside of 30 seconds, which is going to see Liquid taking a little bit more pressure. But if PSK keeps this angle and can find himself a kill with the TCSG out of the breach, that would be a big play. Sexy Cake, as I suggested, getting himself out on the roam, playing the Vigil, loves to be mobile inside a Consulate and quite often has a lot of success. I'm not sure if Empire have got his location locked down or not, but they need to be very aware of the man behind the mask, because he could well be the man behind their downfall if given the opportunity.
Absolutely, you got to worry about those top floors right now, and that's what Empire are putting their focus on. They've got people looking to clear up on this top floor and also on this ground floor. Ring of the one feeding that information back and forth. It's enough enough to tell them there's someone here. They're pushing across. Be mindful of this angle. Could be an absolute freebie if they know that it's Dan that's pushing down here as well. Again, the one player that has stepped up for them to date. You shot him down. There's a fair to high chance that you're probably going to walk away the winner in any given round. This is a well and true Ash crouch walk around the map style of play, though.
Just looking to see if he could get the peek on the man behind the white van, but PSK just keeping himself far enough over so that he's not exposed. But I don't think Liquid are aware of Dan's presence, and that's going to be a big problem as he finds the kill onto PSK. But that's Dan's opportunity gone now. He's going to be challenged. It's Moringa on the pulse trying to take it, but cannot get shots to land. Always finds Sexy Cake. Shepard getting the diffuser down, so Empire once again reverting to that objective style of play, and it all comes down to Dan as he finds the kill. Shepard does activate the diffuser. 2 versus 3. It's down to Moringa and Nesk. First kill comes in for Nesk. Second. It's big. It's big. 2 versus 1 now as the man count swings around. But Shepard, he is a clutch master. He can get these. He finds the first onto Nesk. It's now the low health of Moringa. That's all he needs to find. The pulse steps out, but he's crouched. He doesn't see him. He's got the nitro in hand. He finds the kill. He finds the kill on low health. Des. Moringa, does he know where the plant has gone down though? Des, he's not going to have time. He's got about 4 seconds left to find this. He's surely not going to get there. No, Moringa has lost based on the fact that he didn't know where the diffuser was. Shepard just does enough to win the round for Empire. I can't believe what we're seeing.
That's insane. I mean, the fact that he's come through that room as well is what's the real kicker. Is he'll be kicking himself saying, oh man, I was in that room as well. Close, but no cigar, as they tend to say. Empire finding that third round, and it's quite unbelievable given how dominant Liquid have been that Empire are currently sat at 3 rounds. I'm not afraid of going on record and saying that either. 2 rounds now coming down to the clock, I feel, for Empire's favor. That's not a comfortable win. That's not a reassuring win that if it comes down to, I don't know, a 5-5 situation or even overtime, that you can win rounds out. That's if nothing else more down to Liquid than it is down to Empire. But I will give some lean towards Empire. That was a very good, clean execute. They were in a 4 versus 2 for a while, and it like, okay, well, they still managed to get the plant down here. Things have gone well for them, and Liquid kind of caught sleeping for a few seconds. More of that from Empire. We'll find ourselves at 4-4, and maybe, just maybe, they have a way back into this game.
There's a lot of ups and downs in that round. It was a real roller coaster as it looked like Liquid might just be able to turn around that difficult 2 versus 3, but Shepard just managing to squirrel himself deep enough away and waste enough time that Moringa just could not get back in time. Now we're heading into round 8. Liquid do still have the lead, but the fight back could be on from Empire as they get themselves their first attack on the board. They're going to be attacking onto the same site again. It is Garage. I'm sure though this time Liquid are going to deal much better with that Dan factor. They're not going to allow him to just walk down the stairs and dominate the round as he did last time.
This drone game is always such a big part of it. Like every single time, they know that Empire love pushing their way in from admin, sweeping their way across and then down. Here they've got Always, who would normally go and join them on the top floor looking to do some support and to getting this wall open. But even with the frag nades coming in, 2 of them, in fact, they cannot remove that electric claw from the wall. So well positioned by PSK. Now Empire are going to have to change tack and go and focus on this full clear to try and get rid of the electric claw from Piano, which will involve clearing out the rest of the map first.
Yeah, they got that wall open really quickly last time around, but as you say, it just allows Liquid now to have a little bit of focus elsewhere. They don't need to keep one eye on the breach constantly. Moringa playing with the pulse down in Archives again, just feeding information into his team. Palu being challenged from the Visa stairs there, and he is going to drop away from meeting. Top floor is really not the place to be losing your life here on a Garage defense. Sexy Cake does manage to find the kill onto Always, so that's going to be a better roam coming out of the Vigil this time around and leaves Liquid with an advantage 5 versus 4.
There we go, then the 2 kills they were looking for to start things off. 1 for Sexy Cake and 1 for Palu brings it down to a 5 versus 3 with still 100 seconds on the clock. That is tons of time for Liquid to be looking for here to try and cause more disruption. Empire going to have to buck up their ideas as they run face first into Nesk. The end of his barrel is as deadly as anything else, and we know that. A double kill coming in for him. This could be a flawless round if he finds one more, but Shepard just a little bit better in that moment finds Nesk for free with a nice little quick flick onto him as he comes charging down yellow. But a 4 versus 1A, surely there's no comeback on that. Ooh, Oh, okay. I see you. Fair play.
You would like to think not, but with a minute left on the clock, he at least has time on his side, does Shepard here. Now 1 versus 3. He knows there's another find. Sexy Cake, surely not. That's 3 out of 5, Des. He needs to find 2 more for what could be a 1 versus 5 ace clutch. It would be almost unheard of. Shepard finds himself at the bottom of Spiral now. He's looking to see if he can find another man, bring it back to a 1 versus 1. Just shooting, taking challenges, pre-firing every single angle, but can't find anybody yet. Opens up the barricade, has no choice. Spotted out by the default cam. They know exactly where he's coming from, so Liquid can't really be forgiven if they lose this one from here. PSK Moringa, they just need to lock this down. Looking for the challenge in from Garage there. They know that he's on this single door. There's a man hard inside of that wall, just ready to take the fight. But Shepard switches it up. He comes round from an alternative angle, but he takes some shots and gives away his position. He knows exactly where they are, but he can't find the shots. PSK shuts it down. Team Liquid, they get themselves on to 5-3.
It's another 3k finesse, by the way. Why does this keep happening? Last map and this map now, with my count, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3Ks Neska's walked away with. That's 6 rounds that he is essentially solo won for the team.
And that's before you pick up any of his other kills. That's just literally rounds where he's having big multi-kill rounds. That's 18 kills in 6 different rounds before you even factor anything else in. Absolutely unreal performance so far from him today, but it hasn't seen Liquid home free just yet. Empire are fighting hard here. They have got themselves back into this one. 3-5, but again, another close round there where Shepard did manage to make a bit of a go of the 1v5. He managed to get himself back into it. Up to that point, Liquid had the run of things, but maybe just got a little bit sloppy towards the end there and ran a few kills into Shepard. But back onto the top floor, I'm sure it's not going to be a mistake that they're going to be making again. We're going to see the nested bulletproof camera coming in from PSK. So quite often you'll see an Aruni laser gate just thrown in front of that as well, and it just prevents any throwables from taking it down. You can't get the view on the side of it because you've shot out the soft wall above the reinforcement and put it inside. It makes it very difficult to clear out.
I think at this point probably not going to make use of the laser gate for that purpose, although PSK does still have one in back pocket. I spoke earlier on about Joystick being the old Ash Jaeger main, how he's moved between things like Smoke, how he became quite famed for his Jackal play. The Jackal play is what's going to make an appearance, and if there's any time to make an impact, it's now, whilst you're at 1-7 and your team really quite sorely needs you to start showing up, because again, across 3 members, Scyther, Joystick and Always, they only have 4 kills across 8 rounds.
Well, this is it. We've spoken about the ping issues for Joystick and Team Empire when they've been playing online, but it's not something that they can use as a reasoning now. They need to be getting in and getting kills. It's going to be Dan once again taking the opener, this time onto Moringa. So that's the Maestro gone. Those cams will be locked in position wherever they're looking, and there will be no opportunity to use the laser for any sort of denial or any sort of gadgetry taken away. There we go. Scyther managing to shoot out a Nitro, but it doesn't matter. As Sexy Cake, he's ready in the bathroom to take him down. Dan once again. This is an absolute one-man army, Des. Out goes the Nitro. Won't be successful. Team Liquid, 2 Nitros, no kills. Sexy Cake, 2 kills as he finds one onto Joystick. 3 versus 3. And again, another round that is just slipping away from Empire slowly.
That entry onto Moringa, by the way, that is Dan's, like, every single round I've seen them attack on this map, that is exactly what he does. He repels at the right side of the window, gets himself onto the angle, looks to contest him towards Connector. Maybe a little bit of a misread there on Liquid side, not understanding Empire's behaviors to the full, but that is a thing that we see Empire do all the time. It's a bit of a lazy early pickoff, one that they'll look back on and say if they lose this round, was that a bit of a slip up on our side there? Should we have known a bit better? Quite possibly, but that's always on service stairs. Peaks a little bit too low. It's Sexy Cake to find himself a triple in the rounds. Even when Nesk, Palu, even them two still being alive and not having a massive impact, you can still count on Sexy Cake.
Certainly can, especially in the roam here on Consulate using Vigil. Hasn't been off-site too much, and he's actually, on the Jaeger this time around. And it certainly has benefited him now then. He could still get the ace. They are still there for the take, and he finds the 4th.
Oh, wow.
They just keep feeding into him. There's one more more to go here, and it is going to be Shepard, but no, Shepard shuts him down and spoils the party. Finds a second, and he could really damage Team Liquid here. Thinks about getting that diffuser down. He is going to take the opportunity. Out comes the ping. I think he's just trying to bait the man out, trying to get him into a gunfight, find out exactly where he is. Just lengthens the angle a little bit, knows that he's in bathroom, so may have the opportunity to stick this one. He's going to go with the diffuser. Nesk just waiting for him to pop out, but Shepard in the 1v3 does. He threatened it last time around. He finished it this time.
That was big. Yeah, I mean, for a second, Sexy Cake, 4 kills for him. One of those rounds that you look at and say that should be done and dusted. But Shepard, like you say, vengeance after the previous round. Empire are still keeping themselves in this game. I'd still say again, with the way things have played out, Liquid should have closed this game out already. It feels like a couple of the rounds being a little bit dicey, but Empire are showing that even when you feel they're done, they're still grabbing at your ankles and saying, no, you're coming down here with me. This could turn into a real scrap and could be the first overtime game that we see on the B stream if things carry on this way.
The thing is, you've got to look at that situation, and Liquid have got to be kicking themselves there. You know, you've got one player who's put 4 kills in, and then you've lost the round. Like, you can't be losing a round where you've got Sexy Cake putting 4 kills in, and then Shepard's able to come back and hit a 1v3 like that. It just can't happen if you're going to go on to win a group, an event, something of the stature of the Mexico Major. These teams will punish you, and that's exactly what Empire does. We spoke about the clutch factor of Shepard coming into this. He just makes such good decisions when he's in those positions, those situations. He always seems to find a way out of it, and once again he does exactly that. And Empire, they keep fighting, they keep breathing, somehow they keep themselves alive on Consulate.
All right, let's see if they can keep on breathing just for a couple more rounds and get themselves over the finish line. Imagine now if they bring this all the way back to a 7-5 or something daft and take it away from Liquid. That would be probably the upset of the day, and one that you'll be looking at and saying no way in hell that ever should have happened. However, a good couple of rounds doesn't necessarily guarantee an absolute win. Shepard doing a lot in those rounds as well, mind you. Nesk and Paolo a little bit quiet those last couple of rounds, but we always know they can strike big when it really comes down to it.
Door getting opened by Joystick, looking to move in on the Jackal towards Visa. It's going to be a bit of a combined push, I would imagine, with some attention towards the top floor and some towards the middle floor as well, all at the same time. Sexy Cake, an interesting use of a Yokai drone there, just getting an external angle with it. I'm guessing that it's on the top of one of the window frames. We've got Paolo underneath with the pre-placed Nitro. Not going to hit its mark, though, as he thinks Joystick has moved in, but the information game is being won out by Empire, and Joystick is just one step ahead of him there. Just manages to take a quick shuffle back outside of that double door and keep himself alive. Now, Dan, once again, he's played this position so often so far in this game. We've come to expect Liquid to know that he's there, but he just seems to keep catching people.
Just again, I always speak about down on this rappel, looking through meeting, looking to cause some damage. If you're not careful, you don't respect him, he will take your head clean off your shoulders. So imagine this time around after Moringa got caught from there, maybe there's a bit of a wake-up call to Liquid of let's be a bit more careful this time. You've got Scyther on connector, one looking on main door. So rather than trying to take inside control strictly here, they just want to make sure no one can step in. As I say, that in goes Dan himself to look for something. Joystick finding one. Are they aware of Dan being inside and looking for this challenge? Because if they aren't, you could cause untold damage. He knows that there's one. Likely Nesk again playing inside a bathroom. What about the angle? Seemingly just missing each other. But when they find each other, my God, is it going to be explosive.
Scyther looks to take the challenge. Dan backs him up. Nesk somehow keeping himself alive in behind that reinforcement, but they don't see Sexy Cake, who shuts down Dan, drops the hatch, but always manages to find PSK. 3 versus 4 now. 50 seconds left to go, so still plenty of time for Empire, but they don't really have control over the areas that they need to control at the moment. Sexy Cake back inside of Piano on the Echo. There's at least one Yokai been shot out, possibly both. So he's going to be looking just purely to get kills and help his team. Scyther manages to get the kill onto Nest. That's the top floor now in the control of Empire. 30 seconds left to go. There's the question answered about the Yokai. It was left. It's not anymore as it gets taken down. Scyther's looking to drop that hatch. And here we are. Liquid completely pinned back into bathroom as the diffuser is planted. But it's now 2 versus 2.
Good idea, I think, here as well for both members to go charging up yellow stairs. They need to get rid of these members hanging on the top floor. But the thing is, they've dropped away, Ace. They're not even on the top floor anymore. They're looking after ghosts here. It's like trying to punch smoke. It's simply not going to happen. One on the downstairs, I believe one is playing on the outside. The other one, oh my god, he is a slithery snake here as well. Lay down joystick on the other side of the round desk. Scyther making use of the shield against them. They've got about 5 seconds to make this work. Joystick springs up and finds one. He's looking for number 2. Knows that he's playing out towards Spiral. Now sees the man. Nowhere near enough time to make this one happen. Even Moringa finding himself another kill. He's onto a 3k. May as well make it the 4th, my son. Simply not going to happen. Another round goes the way of Empire, and things are even at 5 and 5.
Smart play from Joystick there, just showing his experience. He knows there's about 10 seconds left, so as long as I shoot on that door frame, nobody's coming in with time to do anything about the diffuser here. All the way back, Des. It was 4-2 to Liquid. We now find ourselves 5-5. We are guaranteed of a full 12 rounds here. Empire are fighting. Empire are keen to get themselves an early victory against Team Liquid. I said this one was going to be close. I was on the fence as to who would win it. I still think Liquid can turn this around, but Silence, he's going to have to be saying something special in this tactical timeout.
Something very special indeed. I mean, looking at how the last 2 rounds have gone, I don't want to pile all the pressure on 1 or 2 players and be like, where's Nesk? Where's Palu? It's not quite that desperate, but they have been quiet compared to previous rounds. And where Moringa has had a really good map so far as well, he can't quite do this all by himself. And Empire are just dragging it back from the jaws of defeat when it looks so miserable coming into this half at 4-2 to now be back at 5 and 5. I completely understand why there is a timeout being taken here to have this conversation, because it is one that is sorely needed. Empire just outpacing them, playing their own game. Liquid, I feel, aren't really being disruptive enough right now. Maybe aren't respecting Empire enough. That's what needs to change, is let's get disruptive. Let's unsettle Empire and stop them playing that structured style of execute that they love to play.
Absolutely that, and it's time now, after this timeout wears out, for Liquid to do something about the momentum that Empire have been able to gain. They need to get, the thing is, I would say they need to come in and get aggressive and get some early kills potentially, give themselves a man advantage, but what does that mean when you've got Shepard on the other side, who's going to get close to a 1v5, then he's going to win a 1v3? It's just showing that there's too many options for Empire right now. There's nothing for them to be scared of here.
Nothing to be scared of. There could very well be, after that timeout for either team, a little bit of a conversation. We'll see what it shakes up into. Now with this setup again, coming out of the side of Liquid, looking again towards this anti-information style they've played a couple of times so far. Empire the ones who went the full margin and ran away with the things like the mutes as well. But look on the attacking side, Ace. You've also got Scyther bringing along the Lion. I wonder if that's an anticipation of a more aggressive setup where they're looking to play more off on their own, looking to be more aggressive, and having things like the Lion and the Jackal on side is going to help with that to no end.
Certainly is. Now then, Dan last time was able to creep his way down the rear stairs very successfully and get kills for Team Empire. Just really able to split the Liquid defense open here in Garage. That was when Empire was successful. So again, something that Liquid needs to stay focused on. Just because it didn't happen in the very last round doesn't mean that it won't happen again. It's either heading towards the top floor potentially. He's going to shoot out the console office windows, so he might look to get up there on the Lion, and again, just as you say, use that E1D scanner, make it difficult for the roamers, try to pin them down. We've got Sexy Cake out on the Vigil, which we've seen time and time again. Nesk on the Malusi as well. They are pretty much the roaming pair here for Liquid on Consulate.
Indeed, they are. Oh, I love this angle as well. The number of times, like, I don't know why it sticks in my head so firmly. I remember Kanto playing inside the doorway at the top of Spiral. Someone got on that rappel and just banged him, and I was like, bro, why are you standing in a double doorway? But it's because realistically, you don't really expect a rappel to come from Spiral staircase windows like that. One of those where you look at and go, oh, well, okay, I won't make that mistake again. It is what it is, but no one being found, at least in that instance.
Shepard droning in from yellow stairs. No contest there. He is able to move in, just pinging out the location of Nesk. I think they're well aware of where he's playing. He's been in this area previously. Empire, they need to get in there, keep that confidence, keep that movement, move in there aggressively and find that kill. Joystick just being cautious about moving into benches there, going to hold an angle onto the round desk. If they can force a little bit of rotation, a little bit of movement from Nesk here, then it could be dangerous. But Palu very much on the cover there if Joystick decides to hop on in. He's going to hold that angle for the time being. I think he was just conscious of being pushed from Visa door there, but that won't be the case. Joystick, as soon as he goes in here, here if he chooses to. He's going to lose his life, but right now he's just looking to fight through the soft wall. Nesk somehow just keeping himself down, prone, and underneath all those bullets that are raining in above him.
I mean, here we go. That's the entry you're looking for as well. Scyther, who's been pretty quiet throughout the game, finding sets of cake is one thing, but hey, it's balanced back down to the 3 versus 3. All kind of explodes in this final 60 seconds or so, as you come to expect at the time when it really starts to count. The difference between win and defeat comes down that close. That west wall still closed up. The piano... Ooh, that's what you were looking for. Always being taken out. PSK, the one playing below here, looking to get a finish off, I think, but can't quite connect onto it. And that's going to slow Empire down ever so slightly. They've still got one C4 to play with on Moringa here too, to keep a close eye on that, because that could be the real round winner for them.
We've seen a lot of Nitro play so far today, but not too much success. But Liquid just managing to get those kills at an absolutely crucial moment there. 15 seconds left to go. Scyther and Shepard, the only 2 men for Empire that can do anything about this. It looks like Liquid might just have the opportunity to close out the game here with a match point if they get this round. Shepard challenged at the bottom of Spiral. Moringa and Palu, they mop up the round. They get Liquid that match point opportunity. 6-5 now, but this one is on a knife edge.
I mean, round 12. Sure, the timeout helped. They slowed things down from the side of Empire. That C4 onto the sledge, no doubt, a massive contributor to that as well. But it can all go wrong in the last round, as we've seen repeatedly on the map, in which case overtime for the first time on the B stream. We'll take that every day of the week. Consulate and meeting, the top floor going to be where we head for round 12. Nothing really screaming at me in terms of changes here. It has been much the same setups between both sides. No Lion coming through in this round, at least for the side of Empire. And Dan's having his book duties removed from him. This time round, I believe it is Scyther going on to play that. Dan going across onto the Ash.
This could be where it is all decided then. Liquid, they're going to head up to Console office. We've only seen them defend it once back in round 9. Empire were able to win that round, so they are without a defensive victory up here on the top floor. It all started with an opening kill from Dan onto Moringa. He got a second as well, and it really did give Empire the advantage that they needed to close the round out. So Liquid, they do seem to be performing better when they can get the opening kills. If they can get those entries and get themselves an advantage, as we saw in the last round, they do seem a little bit more able to get it over the line. Empire have certainly had something to say about that with the clutch moments from Shepard, but by and large, Liquid need to come out here and just get themselves a really good start in this round.
Attackers are moving out to locate a
Got some
bomb.
bad news to deliver from the other stream. If you don't want to hear the results, close your ears now. But Dark Zero are currently 6-1 up over G2. They are storming. In fact, 6-2, sorry. On Chalet. I'm at that lovely news watching as well. I'm well sad we don't get to cast that one. It would have been a great one to see. And to be fair, this game's also been great. We'll get to cast Chalet no doubt tomorrow at some point, Ace. I look forward to it then. Next, the one playing in basement on the pulse here, looking to do some damage. The intel we've seen fed across from there, we saw it in the earlier round in this half too. So they are making good use of that as well. It is being an effective pick for them. Keep a close eye on those C4s, because only 2 of them on side. You're looking for at least 1 to be effective.
Dan, once again, you commented on this. There's just getting up there on the side of those windows, looking to try and get himself an early pick. He's not going to get any joy so far, nearly a minute into the round. Liquid, you can feel, they know that the pressure is going to come. Palu just taking that drone out from long distance there, and every one of those that they can get is going to be a huge victory for them to just try and keep that information out of the hands of Empire. Scyther established on the run. That Banshee is massively important for Moringa, who takes the aggressive route, steps around the corner, and always was not expecting that. Des absolutely annihilated by the Elder.
I mean, it's an ugly one to lose as well. Moringa has been having such a good game so far. You give it all the way to him. Man, bit of a stinger. That picking off always as well with those sledge frag grenades, as well as the sledge itself, is going to be not too bruising on the top floor, but you want those frags to be trying to clear the player inside of meeting. In this case, Moringa, the man who's just swung and killed you for free. Outside of that, they have no frags left on side. That's going to make it a little bit harder to deal with him. Maybe look towards the Jackal getting downstairs, the Ash or the Buck. That then also means taking control of something like Lobby. Joystick's going to be the next challenger. He's the one now stepping up, looking to threaten the man playing in here by himself. Is he going to step round? Won't have a chance. There's someone, I believe, yes, beside the plane, back inside of admin, that collects the kill. They've removed the Maestro. The question now is, can they look to get this plant down in the next 60 seconds?
So they have the time that they need, but they don't have too much time to waste. They need to deal with Nesk underneath as well. Parlor, of course, there with that heartbeat scanner will be able to pinpoint a nitro cell. Parlu finds the kill onto Joystick, and that could be critical. 40 seconds left to go. Sexy Kate makes a challenge, but he's just after the tickle for damage. He doesn't want to go in too hard and throw his life away on that. The challenge will come through Connector. PSK doesn't see his man, though. It's 3 versus 2 as kills trade in either direction. Dan and Either. They've got 25 seconds to rescue this one for Team Empire, and right now it's looking unlikely. It's looking impossible as Sexy Kick and Palu find the final 2 kills and close out what has been a very tight game between Liquid and Team Empire.
I'd wager it started pretty loose, to be honest to you, very far from tight. Liquid looked dominant, and Empire did manage to snag a couple of rounds on their way through. But as it progressed, it absolutely did get more and more even. Dan being the standout performer, I mentioned that at one point he had 10 kills. The rest of the team, everyone had 1. But on the side of Liquid across 12 rounds, 4 players having above 10 kills. Another standout performance from them this time as well. Not relying on Nesk or relying on Palu, but it was Moringa doing a lot of the heavy lifting for them. Another great performance and a 2-0 day for Liquid. A dream start to Mexico.
Well, it comes back to what I said at the beginning of the game as well, when we were talking about predictions, and I said, I feel like if this was the first game of the day for Liquid, then maybe Empire win it. And I look at that now and I think Liquid came in and got themselves a really solid 4-2 start. And I just feel like, you know, Empire were a little bit slow there. There was only that Dan that was finding kills. Had that not been Liquid's first game of the day already done and dusted, I think it could have been different here.
Well, I'm sure there's another man who's absolutely elated, not just to be back on screen, but to see another LATAM victory. It's Jackie. Let's get him back in for this post-test breakdown.
Oh my, the Brazilian boys never fail to leave you enthralled. But I thought they were trying to do this one on a bit more of a speedier schedule. It looked like it was going to be a really quick affair on Consulate, then out of nowhere, finally Empire start to get a little bit of steam. There was only one man, you know, as you said throughout the cast, it was just Dan. He was the Rasputin's revenge of the team, the one trying to claw it back, but in the end, he met a wicked end and lost out. It's a real shame. The rest of the squad did need to step up massively. It feels like in terms of individual skill there, it was lacking for the entire first half, Tim.
It certainly was. You know, you look at it and yes, Dan finished way top on kills, but then if you look below that, I think Shepard was second with 8. 6 or 7 of those came inside 2 rounds for Shepard. We're not normally looking towards Shepard for kills. He's, you know, carrying out a supportive role. But that's really my point. The fact that the closest person to him was the support. You've got to ask questions. You know, what is going on there between Scyther, Always, and Joystick? You just feel like if either any of them can give another 10% and chuck in another 4 or 5 kills, then potentially Empire win that game. That's, you know, you're not even asking for a lot. You're not even asking for a huge amount there.
And for a second there, Tim, I thought you said Joystick, a name that I didn't really hear throughout the cast, and it's a real shame, right? Because obviously that's a player we were hyping up. That's someone that we were hoping to see unleashed on LAN in an environment where he really could show why we had so much hype going into the game. In reality, he was dwarfed by Dan. There wasn't much from him, and as you said, it was Shepard that had to step up with what was quite a miraculous clutch, to be honest, Des.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of round 8, he was 1-8, referring to Joystick here as well. I said we need to see him become the confident Joystick, the one that absolutely fragged out at SI. Sadly, we didn't see that today. It was a lot on Dan, who has been doing a lot of heavy lifting in Stage 2 alongside Always. I do put, I'm not going to put it entirely down to the fact it was their first game. They looked a little bit shaky overall. Of course, they've got more games to play in this case. You came up against a warmed-up Liquid who were hitting their shots on this day. You're always going to struggle against that because, again, it was Nesk, it was Palu, it was Moringa walking away with 3Ks throughout several rounds, making a massive impact, making it really hard for Empire to get anything back. I think for Empire, you go away there and say, right, guys, forget about that one, write it off. We've got other games to focus on now. Get your mental reset before you come into your second game.
Even with the fact as well that it seemed like the team was underperforming in the fragging department, you could still see that the respect was there from both sides, right? So many rounds where it went down to the wire with Liquid not wanting to give anything away for free. At least we had that, Tim. Quite a respectful game.
Yeah, we did. You know, like you say, they obviously recognised the ability there. They knew that they were in for a hard fight, and they've treated it very professionally, come in and got the result closed out. It certainly wasn't easy, and I'm sure that Liquid are going to take a lot of lessons away from that because they've got to play Empire again yet, and I can't wait to see that game because hopefully it comes at a time where, maybe both teams have got the momentum behind them and we can see an even better matchup.
That is the nice start for Liquid, though, right? Already 2-0 in their group. They're going to be living this. This is the ideal scenario for you. Takes so much more weight off you. Also makes it easier now when they can actually have a bit of a break, kick back and watch some of these games to analyze the way the rest of the group is going to go. Because we're nowhere near the end, Des. There's still so many more bangers to come.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, having your 2 games on the first day, again, in a block, like I said earlier on, you haven't got to worry about the kind of come down after your first game, the rebuild back up again. It's not going to exhaust you as much. You do it in one nice block. You played your games. That's your afternoon's work done. Go and chill out. I see some teams looking to scrim tonight. I know Navi are, for example. So if you're a team watching this, go and scrim against them, I guess. Just to think, you know that you've got that time to have a break now and think about your next game. I think for Empire, knowing they've got IG later on as well, that's a game they have to win. So use this one as a lesson. Make sure you're on form later on, because if you lose to IG, there's a fair chance you're going to be really struggling to get out of this group.
A lesson learned, but who was doing the schooling? Let's have a look at the stats from that series and take a bit of a deeper dive into this, because there were some real big performers for either team. One of them, of course, we've already mentioned quite a lot, Dan, being the backbone of Empire, Tim.
He certainly was. There's no two ways. There's no other way to put it. It's, you can see him there with 15 kills on the day. Shepard, as I said, he was in second place with 8, but a whole bunch of those came within 2 rounds, and then 3-4-4 across the rest. It's just not enough of a team contribution from Empire, and they're going to be frustrated with themselves because it came down to 12 rounds. So you have to say, if that contribution was more, the game was there to be won. There were rounds there that were there to be won. But Sexy Cake, Moringa particularly stepping up. Nesk and Palu, I was going to say they've been quiet. 21 kills between them. It's hardly quiet. But Moringa and, quiet by, maybe their own standards. Sexy Cake and Moringa really stepping up to help the team out there as well.
Absolutely. Looking sexy inside and outside of the server as always. Another win for the Brazilian boys as the LATAM side of Liquid lock it down versus Empire. That's our third best of one of the day wrapped up. There is still a lot more action to go over the course of this evening, though. When we return, we're going to be coming straight back in with Furia head-to-head versus SSG. More LATAM, more ANA, more action from the beautiful bald man and the amazing Pikachu-named fellow that's near me. We'll see ya when we come back after the break.